Welcome back to Forgotten Wisdom Radio. We're here to explore those essential skills and that time-tested knowledge for building a more resilient future.
Exactly.
We're your guides from the customer service team here at Nomadic Enterprises, and really our mission is to help you navigate a changing world. Maybe connect you a bit deeper with wisdom that, kind of endures.
Well put.
So today we're embarking on a really profound deep dive. We've got this incredible resource that speaks, I think, directly to the heart of preparedness and independence. We're talking about the insights shared by author Spiritwalker. We're going to unpack some practical, really hands-on strategies, stuff like cultivating your own food, mastering natural medicine, and truly understanding the world around you. Not just how it is, but maybe how it could be with a bit of foresight and skill.
Indeed. And Spiritwalker's approach, it's pretty unique. It's rooted in actual years of direct off-grid experience. This isn't theory, or just academic research.
Right, lived experience.
Exactly. And it's not about fear, not really. It's about genuine empowerment, helping you understand not just what to do, but crucially, why these skills are becoming, increasingly vital for personal security, for family security, in what feels like a pretty unpredictable world. He really offers a kind of blueprint for true self-reliance.
That's the core of it, isn't it? Moving beyond just knowing stuff to actually doing it, putting it into practice.
That's the transition.
So get ready for what should be an enlightening conversation. Hopefully it'll equip you with some knowledge to cultivate your own food freedom and embrace a more grounded way of living. We've got a lot to explore, so let's jump right into Spiritwalker's insights.
Let's do it.
Okay, so Spiritwalker begins his work, and he speaks directly to people he calls awakened to the modern-day world. What's he getting at with that phrase? What does he mean? And what are the immediate kind of tangible concerns he sees driving this shift towards self-sufficiency for so many?
Well, when he uses awakened, Spiritwalker is talking about people who are maybe no longer just content with the status quo, right? They're starting to notice the subtle shifts and sometimes, not so subtle shifts happening all around them.
Yeah.
He highlights this very real awareness of global economic instability, financial shifts. He points out, that while many places worldwide have already faced some form of economic collapse, the U.S. isn't immune to these forces. A lot of people feel a sense of vulnerability about what might be coming down the pike. And he really grounds this in our daily lives, makes it less abstract, more about the reality we're actually experiencing right now.
How so? Like specific examples?
Yeah. For instance, he points directly to the surging cost of living, especially food prices. I mean, think about it. A loaf of bread used to be maybe $1. Now it's easily $2, $3.
Right.
Milk, $3, $4 a gallon. Bacon, nearly $5 a pack. He paints this really vivid picture for you. Walk into your local grocery store. Drop $100 on groceries.
Doesn't go far.
It really doesn't. For a family of 3, that might only last 4 or 5 days, especially if you're trying to buy fresh stuff, meat, produce. This isn't just theory. It hits your wallet directly. It affects your peace of mind, your ability to provide. It's a very personal squeeze. A lot of us are feeling it.
Definitely.
And he puts this in a broader context, too, talking about the devaluing of the U.S. dollar. He even mentions specific events like Hungary making a very real move to dump the dollar for the Chinese yuan.
Wow.
Yeah, and he doesn't present this like some wild conspiracy theory. It's framed as an observable economic reality, something unfolding right now, suggesting a potentially shaky future for the dollar's stability globally. These aren't just headlines. They're indicators of deeper systemic changes.
So if you're listening right now and maybe you are feeling that squeeze at the grocery store or you're noticing these economic things on the news, Spiritwalker sounds like he's really trying to, shake people awake. Not necessarily with fear, but definitely with a call to action. What does this mean for us then in practical terms?
Exactly. That's the point. It raises a really important question. If these trends keep going, how do we make sure our families are fed? How do we ensure they're secure? And Spiritwalker's solution, it's clear. It's pragmatic. Self-sufficiency.
Right.
He emphasizes being able to provide for your family even when, and this is his wording, there's no food and rations will be controlled by the government. His concern is avoiding that terrifying prospect of, rioting and killing and stealing just for basic necessities.
Yeah, that's a scary thought.
It is. But for him, it's not about fear-mongering. It's about empowering you, empowering the listener to take control of your own food freedom, your own security. It's like an investment in resilience.
That kind of philosophy, taking control, it brings us right to Spiritwalker's background. He makes this point, says his book is authored using experience, not research.
Yeah.
That really stands out, especially now with so much information everywhere. Can you tell us more about his personal journey? What really informs his deep dive into self-sufficiency?
Yeah, that's what's truly fascinating here. The sheer depth of his lived experience. Spiritwalker isn't someone who just, reads about this stuff in books. He's lived it. He spent 9 continuous years living completely off-grid. We're talking the rugged Missouri Ozarks with his family. And during that time, they produced, they raised, they foraged, hunted, even traded for 100% of their food and medicine.
100%. Wow.
100%. Think about that for a second. Every single meal, every remedy came directly from their land or their own efforts.
That's incredible.
And since leaving that specific homestead back in 2017, he's actually continued an off-grid nomadic lifestyle. So that brings his total off-grid living experience to an astounding 16 years.
16 years.
Yeah. So this deep personal commitment, it just gives his advice immense credibility, He literally lives what he writes. He's proven every principle he shares. And beyond that, his background is incredibly diverse. He's a published author, over 50 books. 50. He's a skilled herbalist, a Native American medicine man, even a former combat paramedic with a military intelligence background. His Cherokee and Blackfeet heritage, they ensure that these old ways are not just kept alive, but expertly applied to modern challenges. He's truly built what he calls a massive mental library of wisdom and knowledge through direct, hands-on application, facing real problems, finding real solutions. This isn't armchair prepping. This is a life forged in self-reliance.
That kind of deep, hands-on understanding is what makes his advice so compelling, isn't it? It's a totally different league than just, theoretical prepping. He's not just talking about surviving. He's showing us how to thrive.
Exactly right.
And this firsthand experience, it must also clarify the why behind off-grid living today.
Oh, absolutely. He elaborates on that why, focusing on the constant rising prices as a key driver. He details this in another piece he wrote, Why Would Someone Want to Live Off-Grid Today? Part 2. His argument is, simple but powerful. Growing, raising, hunting, fishing, wild foraging for food.
It makes
it cheaper.
Cuts out the middleman.
Totally. And crucially, healthier. You control the inputs. You know exactly where your food comes from. And while he notes, it's not strictly required to own your own land, having it certainly simplifies the process quite a bit. The act of self-sufficiency becomes this very personal shield against escalating costs, and it's a guarantee of quality.
Beyond just the food, he talks about money itself losing value. That's something I think a lot of people are feeling right now. Our paychecks just don't seem to buy as much.
Precisely. He describes things like grid-tied power, running water, internet, cable, satellite TV, not as essentials, but as luxuries, especially when you consider their ever-increasing costs.
Yeah, those bills add up fast.
They really do. His point is, cutting these expenses can free up significant funds. The core message is that while grid-tied living just seems to get more expensive every year, off-grid living remains as affordable as you make it. It offers a path to greater financial freedom, personal freedom, and it acts as a buffer in these uncertain times. It's about taking agency. Taking agency over your expenses, your resources, making conscious choices about what truly brings value and security to your life. It's a powerful reclaiming of independence.
Okay, that urgency Spiritwalker highlights, feeling that squeeze at the grocery store, it truly resonates. And it leads us directly into his first practical solution, cultivating your own food freedom, starting, like you said, with the very ground beneath our feet. So when Spiritwalker says plant an organic garden, where does he actually begin? What's the absolute first step for someone looking to plant?
Right. The absolute foundation, according to Spiritwalker, is the soil. You can't just, toss seeds into any old dirt and expect magic. It just doesn't work that way. He emphasizes understanding and amending your native soil, especially if it's hard or dry or acidic. This isn't just about putting seeds in the ground. It's about creating the right living environment for them to actually thrive. And he highlights several key techniques for this, all rooted in natural organic principles.
Okay, like what?
Well, first, using an organic humus manure mix is crucial. Humus, that's the rich, dark organic matter that makes soil fertile. He even shares a great tip about finding cheap 40-pound bags of organic humus manure mix for around $197 at many stores that carry potting soil.
Oh, wow, that's specific.
Yeah, or if you have access to forest land, you can actually harvest forest floor contents as natural humus. Just scrape away the top layer of leaves and dig into that rich, dark earth underneath. For larger scale needs, cattle auction barns can often provide free or cheap manure. but here's a critical warning from Spiritwalker. Remember to let fresh manure mellow for at least a week, or ideally even longer, before you plant. Otherwise, you risk burning your delicate plants and seeds with its high nitrogen content. It needs to break down a bit first.
Gotcha. Good tip. What else?
Second, organic compost. Invaluable. Whether you create it yourself, from kitchen scraps and yard waste, or you source it from a local garden center, it must be organic, free from pesticides or herbicides. Building a compost pile, he calls it a green living suggestion, and over about a year, it produces the best organic compost you could ever want or need. Provides massive amounts of balanced, slow-release fertilizer. It's a truly satisfying way to enrich your soil and cut down on waste.
Yeah, composting is great.
Third, and this is a fascinating one, maybe overlooked by some, is using rabbit manure.
Rabbit manure.
Yeah. Spiritwalker calls it a fantastic sweet fertilizer because, unlike other animal manures, it won't burn plants or seeds even when it's fresh. It's rich in nitrogen and phosphorus, perfect for leafy growth, root development. He even suggests placing rabbit cages near the garden for direct fertilization or mixing the pellets into the soil when planting things like potatoes or fruit trees for bigger yields. It's incredibly efficient, sustainable, and pretty gentle.
Huh. A whole cycle. So it's about working with the land with natural cycles rather than, fighting them with harsh chemicals or trying to force something unnatural. Spiritwalker really seems to lean into that symbiotic relationship.
Exactly. Spiritwalker really hammers that point home because he's seen firsthand how much healthier, how much more sustainable it is when you collaborate with nature, not try to conquer it. That mindset is really key.
But what's the hardest part about unlearning those fighting nature habits for someone just starting out? Is it just the mindset shift?
Well, the mindset shift is huge, but practically speaking, it often comes down to planning. Another crucial element he covers is proper garden layout. You can wing it, he says, but for a great garden, Spiritwalker offers these tried and true rules that have proven effective through, centuries of homesteading.
Okay, like what kind of rules?
For example, he advises planting your garden rows east to west rather than north to south.
East to west. Why?
Sunlight. This ensures maximum sunlight exposure throughout the day as the plants grow taller. If you plant north to south, taller plants inevitably shade out shorter ones as the sun moves across the sky, which reduces their yield. East to west lets the sun hit all the rows more evenly, vital for photosynthesis, overall plant health. And for areas with a lot of rain, or if your soil tends to get waterlogged, planting in small hills, not big potato hills, just slightly raised beds, is a really good idea. This lets water drain off efficiently, prevents smaller plants from drowning, stops tiny seeds from washing away, and conveniently it limits your weeding to just the walkways between the hills. Smart way to manage water and cut down on labor.
Nice. What about critters?
Ah, yes, wildlife protection. Paramount, especially if you're in a rural area like his forest homestead. Spiritwalker vividly describes dealing with nightly raids from wild rabbits and deer.
Oh yeah, they can wipe you out overnight.
Totally. He recommends a small hole chicken wire fence for the rabbits. For deer, you need a larger, sturdier fence, but still cover the lower half with chicken wire, because deer will push through weak spots near the ground. This also protects against unwanted domestic visitors, like wandering dogs or even your own free-range chickens who might otherwise make short work of your veggies.
Good point. Fencing is key.
And finally, he suggests drawing a layout. Especially if you're planning on doing companion planting, which we can touch on later, having a blueprint helps you strategically place plants for optimal growth, natural pest control, and just making the most efficient use of your space. It's a bit of time up front that really pays dividends all season long.
It's all about thoughtful design and observation, isn't it?
Yeah.
And part of that design is avoiding dangerous chemicals. That's a huge part of organic gardening.
Spiritwalker has some ingenious ways to keep pests away without them, right? This feels like where that forgotten wisdom really shines.
Absolutely. He shares this fantastic homemade repellent that's surprisingly effective. Take a 2-gallon sprayer, fill it with half a bottle of hot sauce.
Actual hot sauce.
Yeah, actual hot sauce. And about 4 teaspoons of biodegradable liquid soap. The soap acts as a surfactant, helps the hot sauce stick to the leaves. This mix makes the leaves and fruit taste bad to bugs. You can use it often, and it's safe right up to harvest because it's totally non-toxic. Simple, effective, environmentally friendly.
Wow, okay. Hot sauce. I gotta try that. He also highlights natural plant repellents,
Okay.
certain flowers and herbs that deter pests, not kill them, just because the bugs don't like the scent or presence. Marigolds, especially French marigolds, thyme, lemongrass, highly recommended. Planting them around the garden edge or between rows creates this natural barrier, makes pests not want to take up a home in your garden. It's a harmonious kind of pest control.
Nice. And what about just picking them off?
Manual removal. Old school, but incredibly effective, especially for initial infestations. Spiritwalker stresses learning to identify the bad bugs, leaf worms, cabbage worms, aphids, little black beetles, snails, cucumber beetles versus the good, beneficial bugs, your allies.
Like ladybugs?
Exactly. Spiders, ladybugs, assassin bugs, earthworms, even lizards, frogs, praying mantis, wasps. His clever trick for Japanese beetles, which, as he says, fly, and if you try and grab them, you will find that they are quite elusive, is ingenious.
Okay.
Hold a wide-mouth mason jar with some water in it underneath the beetle, then just gently touch the stem or leaf thereon. They have this instinct to drop straight down when disturbed.
Right into the water.
Bingo! They drop right in and drown. You can even feed the drowned beetles to your chickens for an extra protein boost.
Yeah.
It's all about knowing your little ecosystem there.
That aggressive root-cutting trick for tomatoes you mentioned? That sounds wild. Has Spiritwalker ever mentioned any other old-timer secrets that maybe at first glance just sound completely crazy but actually work wonders?
He certainly does. And yeah, those tomato tricks are kind of legendary among experienced growers. He offers several tips, tricks, techniques for optimal growth. First, we mentioned hills for drainage. But if your soil is hard and rocky, even with hills, you need to make sure it's airy, loose.
Right.
Otherwise, water just runs off the hard surface, roots don't get the moisture, they get dehydrated. So aeration using compost or just digging it well, that's key.
Okay. Now, about those giant tomatoes.
Right. Growing the biggest, ripest tomatoes, this is a real highlight from his experience. He shares 3 aggressive but proven techniques.
Aggressive?
Yeah. First, leaf removal. Once the tomatoes actually start forming, he recommends removing most of the leaves, especially any shading the fruit or near the bottom of the plant. This directs all the plant's nutrients and energy straight to the fruit. Plus, it lets more sun reach the fruit, speeds up ripening, enhances flavor.
Okay. Less foliage, more fruit.
Second, sucker removal. These are those little shoots that grow in the armpit between the main stem and a branch. Pinch them off regularly. This controls bushy growth, makes the plants easier to manage, and again, directs the plant's energy to fruit production, not just making more leaves.
Right, I've heard of that one.
Third, the aggressive root cutting. This is the most surprising one. He calls it an old-timer's competition trick.
Okay, lay it on me.
When the plant starts producing a good number of tomatoes, you literally dig down on one side of the roots and cut them with a spade or shovel.
You cut the roots on purpose.
Yep. This tricks the plant into thinking it's dying. It goes into this kind of panic mode, sending all its stored nutrients directly to the fruit in a last-ditch effort to ensure its genes survive, make viable seeds. The result: incredibly large, red tomatoes in about half the normal time. Sounds drastic, I know, but he swears by it for getting those prize-winning tomatoes early.
Wow, but that is aggressive. Takes some nerve to try that.
It does. Then there's companion planting. Pairing plants that benefit each other somehow, maybe deterring pests, maybe attracting pollinators.
Like the 3 sisters.
Right.
Corn, beans, squash.
Sort of like that idea, yeah. For example, plant corn in 2 or 3 short rows, not one long one, for better cross-pollination by wind. Tomatoes, they thrive near thyme, which can deter some pests. Pepper plants benefit from having tomato bushes between them. They have similar needs, maybe offer some mutual pest resistance. Conversely, he advises avoiding planting watermelons near onions. They're apparently incompatible. For beans, plant them near squash. The bigger, showier squash flowers attract tons of bees, which increases pollination for both the squash and the nearby bean flowers, boosting your bean yields.
Clever. Using nature's pollinators.
Exactly. And finally, for year-round eating or just getting a head start on the season, greenhouses are invaluable. He suggests starting seeds about 2 months before you plan to transplant them into the main garden. So start in January for a spring garden. Always use container-specific potting soil, he stresses. Garden soil can be too dense or have pathogens harmful to young seedlings. And he notes that greenhouse light is ideal for germination, gives the right balance of warmth and filtered light, protecting tender seedlings.
Those are incredible tricks for getting the most out of your garden.
Yeah.
Seriously practical stuff. But what if your starting point isn't ideal? What if, like Spiritwalker found in the Ozarks, you're faced with less than perfect soil, maybe even really acidic soil? A lot of people might feel discouraged, finding out their land has challenging conditions. But Spiritwalker says not to let that stop you, which is incredibly empowering.
It really is, and this raises a super important question for many aspiring homesteaders, doesn't it? What if you can't amend your soil right away, or maybe not effectively? Spiritwalker emphasizes, and this is a direct quote, "Any soil will grow any plant if you put enough hard work into it." Bold statement.
It is, but he proved it himself on his 12-acre Ozarks property. He was explicitly told, by locals, nothing will grow there. The soil was too hard, too rocky, too acidic. He basically took it as a personal mission to demonstrate otherwise. He meticulously observed, experimented, figured out what would actually thrive there.
That's dedication.
Yeah. And these invaluable insights, by the way, the ones detailing exactly what plants can thrive in challenging conditions, they come from a comprehensive guide he authored. It's called Preparing for the Collapse, Food Production Basics. We're about halfway through our chat, so this feels like a good time to mention it.
The book. Good timing. Yeah, it's truly a testament to his whole live what I write philosophy. It's just packed with practical solutions for real-world homesteading challenges, including those frustrating soil issues. He learned these lessons through trial and error, taking detailed notes on what actually did grow in his acidic soil. Those are the experiences he shares in the book.
So let's dig into some specific examples from the book then. What can grow? What about root vegetables? They seem like such a foundational food source for self-sufficiency, right? They often store well.
Absolutely. And Spiritwalker found several surprising successes among root crops in his acidic soil, even if they sometimes needed a bit of, babying or extra aeration. The key insight here is choosing the right varieties and understanding their specific needs.
Okay, like what were?
Potatoes. Both Idaho and red varieties grew well for him, though he admits they were often smaller because of the hard, acidic soil. His recommendation is key here.
Yeah.
Aerating the soil, basically loosening it up with a fork or spade, can allow them to grow much larger. His red potatoes, for instance, grew all season long, and he actually got 2 harvests from them in that challenging soil. Shows their inherent resilience.
2 harvests. Nice.
Yeah. Onions, yellow and green, were another big win. These, he says, grow very well in acidic soil with no problems at all. Now, the bulbs might not get huge because of the hard soil, but the lack of nitrogen didn't seem to affect their green tops at all. He even shared this remarkable trick. He cut the green tops twice, replanted the roots, and they regrew.
Seriously? Free onions?
Pretty much. Makes them a very reliable, self-sustaining staple. You get greens for salads, cooking, all season long, even if the bulbs stay on the small side.
Okay, what else?
Radishes, specifically sparkling and cherry bell varieties. These were an abundant crop in his acidic soil, even without much added fertilizer. They're incredibly hardy, ready in a super quick 14-21 days. Fast gratification.
Yeah, radishes are quick.
And he offers a clever companion planting trick. Plant radishes with carrots. The radishes grow fast, they loosen the hard soil around them, and then you harvest them before the carrots really need that space. Creates this beneficial cycle for the slower growing carrots.
Smart. Very smart.
And then there are turnips, one of his personal favorites. They truly thrive in acidic, unamended soil. They prefer cooler weather and, amazingly, can even grow all winter long in many climates. He notes that snow actually makes the greens taste better, sweeter.
Huh.
Yeah, they are very hardy, and he states unequivocally that they will grow from seed. Makes them a cornerstone for cold weather food production.
Herbs are so essential too, not just for cooking, but like Spiritwalker stresses, for medicine. Which ones can tolerate acidic conditions? Can a homestead herbalist grow them even in less than ideal soil?
Definitely. He lists several hardy herbs that really excelled on his homestead, providing both flavor for food and some powerful medicinal properties.
Okay.
Parsley, specifically Italian flatleaf, grew best when sown directly into the ground. It lasted a long time, proved bug and drought resistant, and was so successful he even sold bundles at the local farmer's market. Beyond cooking, Spiritwalker notes its value as a tea for helping lower fever, so a dual-purpose plant.
Nice.
Dill, the mammoth dill variety, grew 3 feet tall, flowered beautifully, provided cuttings for months. Also bug and drought resistant, attract beneficial pollinators like bees, and sells well at markets for those fresh, feathery fronds. And he points out that full circle approach, again, feeding unusable parts like tough stalks to the rabbits, efficient homestead economy.
Love that. No waste.
Basil also grows well in acidic soil, but, he notes, it does need aeration if the soil is really hard and compact. It loves warmth, but direct, intense hot sun can make the leaves wilt and turn bitter, so maybe some afternoon shade is beneficial. Pinching off the flowers regularly extends its life, encourages more leaf production. Known as a holy plant in India, useful for tea or cooking.
And peppermint.
Amazingly, peppermint grew wild in his acidic garden without him even planting it. Just showed up.
Huh. Bonus herb.
Right. It's incredibly abundant, transplants well, drought-resistant once established. Spiritwalker finds it excellent for medicinal teas for digestive issues, making homemade toothpaste, or even just a refreshing foot soak. These are herbs that offer significant culinary and medicinal value, proving that even challenging soil can yield a really rich harvest of natural remedies.
And what about the main vegetable staples? Can you really get a good harvest of things like beans or squash in less than perfect acidic soil? Or are you limited to just a few obscure crops?
No, absolutely. With the right choices and a bit of ingenuity, you can get a good harvest of mainstream vegetables, even in acidic soil.
Okay, prove it. What grew?
All right. For bush beans, green, lima, peas, snow peas, Spiritwalker states, and this is another quote, have not found any bush beans that will not grow in our acidic soil.
Oh, okay.
They grew quickly and well, though he notes rabbits or periods of drought could slow them down. Companion planting with tomatoes or marigolds helps control pests, and he emphasizes a crucial step for self-sufficiency, letting some plants dry out on the vine at the end of the season to collect seeds for next year's planting, securing your food source.
Smart. Seed saving is key.
Squash, specifically table queen and yellow crookneck varieties, sprouted and produced well, especially with consistent watering. Now, since hard soil can make water run off easily, he suggests building little walls or berms around the plants to retain water. And mulching with straw during extreme heat helps protect the shallow roots. He does caution to watch out for cucumber beetles, though. They eat the flowers, which prevents fruit from developing, so careful monitoring is needed there.
Right, those little striped beetles.
Yeah. As for greens, collards, spinach, turnips, kale, kohlrabi all grew really big in his acidic soil. These are generally cold hardy and super versatile. You can plant them early in spring and then again in late August or September for a fall crop. Many greens, like the 7 top-collared greens, actually taste better after a frost.
Better after frost.
Yeah. And they can even survive freezing temperatures. Incredible hardiness, extending your harvest season deep into winter.
That's amazing. What about cabbage?
Lastly, cabbage. He says it will grow in about any soil type, making it highly adaptable. He planted seeds that came up fine, produced large heads. Cabbage worms can be a problem, those little green guys.
Oh yeah, the bane of cabbage growers.
Right. But Spiritwalker found that just consistent manual removal works, picking them off. And planting cabbage strategically between tomato plants is also suggested to deter these worms, again, using companion planting for natural pest control.
So the big takeaway here is that all that propaganda, as he might call it, about not being able to grow anything in certain soils, like acidic conditions, it's just not true if you know which crops to choose and apply a bit of ingenuity. Sounds like Spiritwalker truly debunks that myth.
Precisely. He does encourage getting a soil test kit if you're unsure about your soil's pH and nutrient content. It's good info to have. But ultimately, he asserts that with experience and these specific recommendations from his own trials, you can always be able to plant food no matter what type of soil you have. His message is really one of overcoming perceived limitations through knowledge, hard work, and a deep understanding of what nature offers. It's about adapting to your environment, not just wishing for a perfect one.
We've talked a lot about physical sustenance through gardening, which is huge. But Spiritwalker also emphasizes the crucial role of natural medicine. He calls himself a natural living guru and a homestead herbalist. What's his philosophy on this, especially, considering the current state of modern healthcare?
Right. He believes that in a world grappling with chronic health issues and often relying really heavily on, as he puts it, harmful and unpredictable pharmaceuticals, there's this vital, often suppressed knowledge of natural remedies. His own family lives an extreme natural lifestyle, using only herbal medicines, beverages, spices for their health needs. It's a testament to his confidence in these ancient practices.
An extreme natural lifestyle.
Yeah, that's his term. And the why behind this is actually quite provocative. He states, good health is great, but it does not make a lot of money. Yeah. Suggesting that big pharmaceutical companies maybe have a vested disinterest in promoting natural cures that can't be patented or sold for a high profit. He points out that countries like Germany and Canada regularly prescribe St. John's wort for depression, and even many over-the-counter OTC products like Nicorette for quitting smoking contain herbs like licorice root, which, he argues, can curb cravings more cheaply on its own.
So why pay for the processed version?
Exactly. He's essentially asking, why pay a fortune for a processed version with potential side effects when nature often offers the raw, effective ingredient, frequently at a fraction of the cost, and often with fewer risks?
So growing your own cures, as it were, becomes this act of self-reliance, financial wisdom, and quite literally, self-preservation. It's a truly holistic approach to preparedness, isn't it? Bringing health back into your own hands.
Exactly. And Spiritwalker lists several powerful pain-relieving plants that can really form the backbone of a natural medicine cabinet, empowering you to manage minor ailments without always relying on external systems.
Okay, like what? What are some go-tos for pain?
Valerian root is his all-time favorite for minor aches and pains. It acts as a mild to moderate sedative and tranquilizer. He recommends it best as a decoction. You boil the root for about 10 minutes to extract the compounds, or as an alcohol tincture, brewed in 80-100 proof alcohol for 2 weeks. Strong warning from him, though. It stinks. Like dirty gym socks is his description. So store it in an airtight jar, and he advises using it in moderation, maybe 1 to 2 cups a day, to avoid potential stomach upset.
Dirty gym socks.
Yeah.
Noted. Okay, what else?
Kava. Renowned for its excellent pain relief ability. And importantly, it induces sleep without causing lingering drowsiness, which is a major benefit over many pharmaceuticals.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah. A decoction of the root can effectively treat nerve pain, even things like mouth sores. You can gargle for a numbing effect. And it's known as a migraine-killing herb, used for millennia for exactly this reason. It gives a gentle numbing sensation, especially in the mouth, and just a profound sense of calm.
Interesting. Kava.
Boneset herb. The entire plant is medicinal. This herb was apparently widely used by Civil War soldiers before aspirin became common. It dulls body aches, including migraines, and it can paradoxically raise body temperature to help fight viruses or induce perspiration to help lower fevers. He suggests it's best used as a liquid tincture for maximum efficacy.
Boneset, descriptive name.
Isn't it? And then there's capsaicin. That's the active compound in hot peppers, jalapeno, habanero, serrano. Beyond the topical pain relief creams you see, actually ingesting these peppers can limit the pain you will experience as you age by interfering with pain signals. Plus, it boosts the immune system and aids weight loss. Spiritwalker emphatically states, the spicier the food, the healthier it is for you. Advocates incorporating these potent peppers into your diet regularly.
Eat your hot peppers.
Okay.
Now, in our stressful world, good sleep. It feels like a luxury, often out of reach for so many people. Are there natural aids he recommends for improving sleep quality? Maybe without that grogginess you sometimes get from sleep meds?
Definitely. Spiritwalker offers several sleep-inducing herbs to promote restful nights. And the beauty is their natural action. They help the body relax rather than just forcing it into unconsciousness.
Okay. What helps with sleep?
Well, valerian root comes up again, re-emphasized for its potent sedative properties, but again with that strong caution. No mixing with alcohol or other depressants, and don't overdose. Too much can actually cause agitation, not sleep. He suggests it's best as a warm tea about 30 minutes before bed. Maybe mix it with peppermint or honey to mask that famous pungent taste.
Right, the gym socks tea, got it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Jasmine tea is described as a highly sought-after relaxing tea for insomnia. The delicate floral aroma alone is profoundly calming. Retail versions are often high-grade green tea infused with jasmine flowers, traditionally picked at night for maximum flavor and aromatic oils. It's safe for any age, making it a gentle option, even for kids. Though high-quality jasmine can be quite expensive, sometimes around $20 a pound.
Pricey, but maybe worth it for good sleep.
Could be. Hop syrup, yes, the same ingredient in beer, is known for its calming, sedative ability. Dried hops are used as a gentle sleep aid and a stress and anxiety reliever, often found in herbal tea blends. You can actually find seeds to grow it in your garden, too. It's a beautiful climbing vine.
Hops.
Yeah.
Interesting. Not just for beer.
Nope. And finally, passion flower herb. A great option for insomnia with no side effects, he says. It has a slight grape-like flavor and a wonderfully calming effect. It grows wild in many areas and can be easily cultivated, makes it accessible and appealing, especially maybe for parents looking for natural, calming alternatives for their kids.
Passion flower. Sounds lovely. Now, this next part feels critical for preparedness. What does Spiritwalker suggest for fighting illness without pharmaceuticals? Focusing on natural antibiotic and antiviral medicine, this feels like an area where knowledge truly becomes power.
Oh, absolutely. This is where knowledge becomes true self-reliance. Spiritwalker has several go-to herbs for fighting infection and boosting immunity.
Okay, big guns.
Pretty much. Echinacea herb is a true superstar. He calls it a natural antibiotic and an immune booster that can prevent or help wipe out infections. It's widely available, affordable, easy to grow, and practically side effect free for most people. Spiritwalker personally states he wouldn't be caught dead without this herb in my garden. And he notes it's an ingredient in popular immune support products like Airborne.
Right, I've seen echinacea in those.
Goldenrod herb grows wild all over the place in the U.S. He calls it an all-natural antiviral for common stuff like stomach viruses, sore throats, diarrhea. It's also an antifungal, useful for athlete's foot or yellowed nails via foot soaks. He recommends making an alcohol tincture, maybe with 80 proof vodka from the dried flowers, concentrates its healing properties.
Goldenrod, often seen as just a weed.
But powerful. Then there's rose herb. Yes, beautiful flowers in your yard. Rose petals and especially rose hips are edible and highly medicinal. He shares this incredible fact. 1 cup of rose hip tea has more vitamin C in it than 1 orange.
Wow, more than an orange.
Yeah. It's also a potent antiviral, so that ornamental plant in your garden could be a vital medicine source.
Amazing.
And finally, garlic. Spiritwalker calls it a vampire's worst nightmare, and the food with more antibiotic properties than any food on the planet. Eating a diet rich in garlic can significantly reduce illness. He himself rarely gets sick. He views it as a super healing and illness-preventing food that should be a staple in every diet.
Garlic. Powerful stuff. These are truly potent alternatives for self-sufficiency, giving us tools to take charge of our own health. And for those listening who are thinking, okay, where do I get seeds for echinacea or valerian root, or just want to get started with other self-sufficiency items? We've actually curated some fantastic resources. Our Forgotten Wisdom website offers a range of products, things like garden seeds, home and online study courses, and other tools to really help you get started on your own journey, applying this Forgotten Wisdom we're talking about.
Yeah, it's about providing those resources to help implement these teachings, bridge that gap between knowing and doing.
Exactly. You can find the link on our site. Okay, moving on. Growing plants is one thing, but for a truly robust and sustainable food source, Spiritwalker delves into raising animals. Let's start with chickens. They seem like such a homesteading staple for a reason.
They absolutely are. Spiritwalker highlights chickens as just an incredible source of both eggs and meat, offers significant food security and even potential profit if you have extra. He runs his own operation, selling eggs, extra roosters, and he points out the stark difference between, laboratory agriculture chicken from the store and knowing exactly what your chickens eat and, by extension, what you're feeding your family. It's about quality control.
Totally. So how do you decide what type of chickens to raise?
Good question. He stresses that each breed really has a specific purpose. You need to research breeds Rhode Island Red, Buff Orpington, Cornish Cross, Silky. There are tons to figure out if you want them primarily for meat or eggs or maybe for brooding, hatching their own chicks. He's personally, and I quote, hooked on Cinnamon Queens for my egg production and Cornish Cross for my meat production.
Okay, why those?
Cinnamon Queens are just prolific layers. Cornish Cross grow incredibly fast, which is why they're commercial favorites, ready in just 6 to 8 weeks. Rhode Island Reds are good dual-purpose birds, decent meat, decent eggs, but crucially, if you want a truly self-sustaining meat stock...
Meaning they reproduce themselves.
Exactly. You need to choose a breed with good meat qualities, but also a strong breeding drive, an excellent broodiness, the instinct to sit on and hatch eggs, like the Buff Orpington. He calls it an heirloom chicken breed that has not had the natural broody instinct bred out of them. This ensures they'll hatch their own eggs, making your flock truly self-sufficient, sustainable, without needing an incubator.
That's a key distinction for self-sufficiency. What about egg layers?
For the best egg layers that also brood, Buff Orpingtons and Wyandottes are champions at sitting on eggs. Again, for that self-sustaining quality. He notes that many modern breeds have had that broody instinct bred out for commercial efficiency, makes them less useful for a self-sufficient homestead. He also points out a little marketing tip. Brown eggs often sell better than white ones because they convey that farm-fresh eggs image to consumers.
Interesting.
And a key warning. Once eggs are refrigerated, they won't hatch. So consider your storage methods carefully if you plan to sell eggs for hatching to other homesteaders. Keep them room temp if that's the goal.
That's incredibly practical advice, especially distinguishing between breeds for different goals. So whether you're just starting out or maybe expanding your flock, where does Spiritwalker suggest one go to buy or sell these animals?
He outlines several effective avenues for both sourcing your birds and marketing any extras you might have. Each has its pros and cons. First, mail-order chickens. From the large hatcheries, McMurray, Meyer, Cackle, Stromberg's, their catalogs are, as he puts it, an education in themselves, just filled with breeds you might never have heard of. Day-old chicks can be delivered right through the mail. They often include extras to cover potential losses during transit. You can order straight run, mixed sexes, or specific ratios of pullets, females, to cockerels, males. Gives you flexibility.
Chicks in the mail. Wild.
It is kind of wild. Next, the auction house. This is a place to get chicks or grown birds from local farmers, often at good prices. However, he cautions, don't trust auctioneers implicitly. Make sure that what you bought you actually get, and always count your birds carefully before you leave. It's also a place to sell, but be prepared for a no-sell if the prices dip too low, and expect around a 20% commission on your sales. It's a busy, sometimes chaotic environment. Go in with your wits about you.
Good advice. Buyer beware.
Definitely. A more relaxed atmosphere is the small animal swap meet. These are often free or cheap to set up at basically local trading posts for homesteaders. Spiritwalker's family earns income from chicken and duck egg sales at these events. He advises consistency, quality products, good customer service to build a loyal customer base. He's seen prices like $2, $2.50 a dozen for free-range and organic eggs, chicks for $1.75, $10.25, laying hens maybe $8, $12. Roosters, unfortunately, typically only fetch about $1. Most people just don't need many.
Right. Supply and demand.
Exactly. Finally, local sellers online groups, websites, social media groups like Facebook yard sales, Craigslist, allow for buying, selling, trading directly within your community. This can be a great way to find specific breeds or just connect with experienced local homesteaders for advice and resources.
Lots of options.
Yeah.
So what about the daily practices? Keeping happy, healthy chickens once you have them, particularly if you're aiming for that organic, low-cost approach.
Right. Spiritwalker provides really practical, experience-based advice for raising your chickens for their feeding schedule. Chicks need a 16% protein chick starter crumble for their rapid early growth. For adults, chicken-laying pellets are appropriate. He stresses sticking to a routine. Chickens are creatures of habit, can be trained to specific feeding times. Free-range chickens, importantly, can eat less purchased food once a day is often enough because they supplement their diet foraging.
Makes sense. Less feed cost.
Big time. He suggests a specific winter feeding plan for about 100 chicken chicks. 3 16-ounce soup cans of chicken food and 2 cans of corn. The corn helps warm them internally for laying in cold weather, but he warns, avoid corn in the summer heat. It actually makes them more susceptible to heat-related illnesses due to its heating properties internally.
Interesting. Corn in winter, not summer.
Yeah. And he strongly advocates for free-range benefits. He says it makes them healthier, happier, and less susceptible to illness, stress, and death. Free-range eggs not only taste better, but are also more nutritious. And free-range chickens tend to lay more often. They forage for bugs, worms, grass, naturally reduces feed costs, provides a more balanced diet. And he assures you, chickens are smarter than they often get credit for. They won't stray far, and they will put themselves to bed at night in their coop without your help. Makes it a very low-maintenance system once it's established. Truly symbiotic.
Okay, chickens seem pretty straightforward once you get the hang of it. Now, rabbits. They're often overlooked in homesteading discussions, especially compared to chickens. But Spiritwalker calls them the quickest feed-to-food converters. What makes them such a valuable and efficient addition to a self-sufficient lifestyle?
Yeah, they really are efficient. He notes rabbits are a significant market for breeding and raising small farm animals. They provide meat, potentially fur, even feet for crafts or dog chews, offering options for profit or personal use. They are just incredibly quick to grow and reproduce. Makes them ideal for rapid, sustainable food production with a relatively small footprint compared to larger livestock.
Quick and small footprint. Good combo. What are the key things to know for raising rabbits?
All right, several key points. Cage size is important, especially for does, females, and their litters. Need about 24 by 24 inches, up to 36 by 36 inches to allow enough space for comfort and growth. Their diet can be standard rabbit pellets or natural foods like grass, leaves, certain garden vegetables, but he warns an improper diet can quickly lead to sickness, even death. Rabbits have sensitive systems. Buying pellets in 50-pound bags from a feed store is much cheaper than those small pet shop bags.
Good tip on the feed bags. How about choosing the right rabbit?
For choosing your rabbit, he strongly recommends New Zealand or California breeds, or mixes of the two, specifically for meat production. They grow large and plump in no time and are ready for butcher in less than 3 months. Incredibly efficient protein source. For pets, there are more interesting breeds like Rex, albinos, lionheads, Flemish giants, which can get huge, weigh hundreds of pounds, very expensive show animals, and various mini breeds. He advises starting simple. 1 doe, at least 4 months old, and 1 buck, at least 6 months old, to begin your breeding stock. The goal for meat production, he says, is basically the biggest rabbit for the buck, most meat for the least initial cost and feed.
So the same marketing channels apply for rabbits as for chickens, auctions, swaps, online.
Yep, quite similar. He suggests animal auctions, often the cheapest way to get starting pairs, but reiterates that caution about auctioneers' honesty. Small animal swap meets offer that more relaxed environment where you set your prices maybe 10-15 times each for 3 to 4 month old meat rabbits, much more for specialized breeds like Flemish giants. And local online sellers and groups are great resources too. You can sometimes find free rabbits or even connections for meat rabbits we butcher for you, which caters to a different market segment.
Okay, what are the unique care needs for rabbits to keep them healthy, productive? It sounds like they might have some specific requirements beyond just food and water.
They do. Rabbits are indeed quite particular about routine, especially with feeding and water.
Oh,
Their feeding schedule, about 8 ounces of pellets twice a day, morning and evening. If you're feeding natural food, it's about 2 handfuls twice a day of a variety of grasses, weeds, roots, flowers, leaves. Consistency is key.
Yeah.
Sudden changes can really upset their digestive system.
Got it. Routine. What about water?
Water is absolutely critical, and he gives a crucial warning here. In hot weather, you must change their water bottles nightly with cool, refreshing water. Hot water sitting in the bottle all day in the sun can heat up significantly. This leads to dehydration and potentially death in as quickly as 24 hours. Common, easily preventable cause of loss.
Wow. Okay, cool water daily in summer. Critical.
Absolutely critical. For feet care, keep their feet dry. That's why cages with open wire bottoms, allowing waste to fall through, are essential. Wet feet can lead to painful sores, infections called sore hocks.
Makes sense. Handling.
Proper handling is key too. Pick them up by the nape of fur behind the neck, gently but firmly, while supporting their hindquarters with your second hand at the base of the back. Never by the ears can cause severe injury, extreme stress.
Okay, scoop the bum, grab the scruff, never the ears.
Exactly. Regarding temperature, provide straw or hay for warmth in winter. Rabbits are surprisingly resilient, can survive below 0 degrees F if they're out of the wind and rain. In heat, they absolutely need shade, good air circulation, and that critical cold water we talked about.
What about natural medicine for rabbits?
For natural medicine, if they show signs of illness, he highly endorses grapefruit seed extract, GSE, calls it a natural cure-all for rabbits. Adding just a few drops to their water can be remarkably effective for various ailments.
GSE. Interesting. And breeding.
Finally, for mama rabbit and litter. Gestation is quick, about 30 days, typically results in 8-10 babies called kits. Provide a nesting box filled with straw, grass, or hay. The mama pulls her own fur about 24 hours before birth to line the nest. Crucial, don't touch the babies for the first week. Avoid stressing the mama or imparting human scent. Their eyes open around week 2. They start hopping out of the box at week 3. Separate the litter from the mama at 6-8 weeks. They're ready for butcher or sale at 3-4 months old. Migdas starting at 4 months, bucks at 6 months. And remember to provide extra food and water for the nursing mama and the growing litter. Their nutritional demands are very high.
Okay, that's a lot of great detail on rabbits. Very efficient animals. Now, foraging. This feels like the most ancient form of food production, doesn't it? Something Spiritwalker has dedicated decades to mastering. Sounds like a fantastic way to supplement a garden and animal husbandry. Add diversity, resilience to your food supply.
It absolutely is a fantastic way to supplement. But this section, more than any other perhaps, comes with a vital disclaimer. Spiritwalker stresses, and we need to echo this strongly, This is an introduction, not a complete guide. You must research thoroughly. Use multiple reputable sources, field guides, local experts, and taste test only tiny amounts initially due to potential allergies or, critically, misidentification.
Right, safety first, always.
Always. Spiritwalker himself studied for decades, learned even more living off-grid. He emphasizes this is a lifelong learning process where caution is absolutely paramount. One mistake can be serious, even fatal.
Understood. So why learn it then if it's potentially risky?
Well, the why is rooted deeply in preparedness. He notes how society has a way of scaring the bejesus out of just about everyone regarding wild foods, often focusing only on the dangers. But in an uncertain world, he argues it's a critical survival skill. He reminds us, the U.S. isn't immune to hardship, and knowing how to procure wild food is becoming increasingly important for basic survival. He also notes some plants need cooking, some are seasonal, some parts might be edible while others are toxic. Careful identification and preparation are paramount. It's about building confidence and knowledge safely.
Okay, that's a crucial message. Knowledge and caution together. So with those warnings firmly in mind, let's highlight some of his favorites. Spiritwalker outlines so many incredible wild foods in his work. Let's maybe zoom in on a few he considers foundational for a beginner, maybe one with a critical warning just to illustrate the point. Yeah. And remind everyone again, the book has the full in-depth guide.
Excellent point. For a beginner, Spiritwalker really emphasizes focusing on what he calls the no-brainer, wild foods, those with very few, if any, dangerous lookalikes. Makes the learning curve safer.
Okay, give us a no-brainer.
Take wood ear mushrooms first. They're named perfectly. They look and feel almost exactly like a human ear growing on dead wood. He notes there are no dangerous lookalikes, making them safe for beginners. They're good in stews, soups. Though he does describe their texture as slimy, which, might not be for everyone. They can also be dried easily for storage, adding to your pantry.
Wood ear. Okay, easy ID.
Then there are wild blueberries, small, bursting with antioxidants, incredibly safe for beginners, grow on small shrubs, often in rocky or sandy soil. Birds, squirrels, deer love them too, so you got to be quick to harvest. They can also be carefully transplanted to a garden for protection, potentially higher yields. They're seedless, very sweet when dark and plump, a true wild treat.
Can't mistake a blueberry. Good one.
Next, lamb's quarters, also known as goosefoot. Spiritwalker considers this one of the easiest plants to identify and find. Look for that distinctive powdery white substance under its leaves, especially on the younger growth. The entire plant is edible. Young leaves are great raw, like spinach, or cooked like collards. The seeds can be roasted, dried, ground into a flour extender, but they must be soaked and cooked thoroughly first. This is because of saponins, natural compounds that can cause stomach upset if eaten raw in large quantities. It's very invasive, grows everywhere, so you can harvest it nonstop without worry. Abundant, reliable wild green.
Lamb's quarters. I think I've seen that. Okay. Another easy one.
Wild onion. Spiritwalker says all alliums are edible, which is a great rule of thumb for the onion garlic family. Found in grassy, sunny, often wet areas, the whole plant is edible bulb, green tops, seed, flowers. The bulbs are usually small, but the green tops are superb, taste just like chives, very pungent. It's one of the very first wild greens to emerge in spring, providing fresh flavor when little else is growing.
Wild onions. Great find. Now for that crucial warning example.
Right. Let's discuss wild carrot, commonly known as Queen Anne's lace. It looks almost identical to the highly poisonous hemlock, which, yes, can be deadly.
Okay, this is serious. How do you tell them apart?
The critical identification feature. Wild carrot almost always has a very small purple flower, often called the blood drop, right in the exact center of its white lace-like flower cluster. If there is no tiny purple spot in the middle, it's probably hemlock. And Spiritwalker's advice is blunt. Do not suggest you even touch it if you aren't 1,000% sure. The entire wild carrot plant is edible, root tastes like carrot, flower can be fried or put in salads, but the risk of misidentification with hemlock means extreme caution and absolute certainty are required. This is a perfect example of why precise knowledge is literally life or death in foraging.
Wow, okay. Purple dot? Maybe, okay, no purple dot danger. Got it. Extreme caution needed.
Exactly. And for those interested in the full array of wild foods, Spiritwalker's book, Preparing for the Collapse, Food Production Basics, goes into extensive detail on many, many more, including bolete and chanterelle mushrooms, with their own crucial warnings: curly dock, wild mustard, wild strawberry, chicken of the woods mushroom, watercress, with a vital note on water purity, reishi mushroom, a powerful medicinal, and even the extremely dangerous violet webcap mushroom, which he explicitly advises beginners to avoid due to deadly lookalikes. The book is truly an indispensable guide for learning these skills safely, effectively.
Wow, what an incredible deep dive into Spiritwalker's world of self-sufficiency. Seriously comprehensive. We've covered everything from understanding that urgent call for preparedness to cultivating your garden with real ingenuity, raising animals for sustained food, harnessing nature's medicine cabinet, and even safely foraging for wild foods. It's truly a journey back to fundamental time-tested skills.
It really is. And this journey into forgotten wisdom, it isn't just about survival in a worst case scenario. It's about empowerment right now. It's about health, a profound connection to the natural world. Spiritwalker's experience-based insights, they truly guide you towards a more resilient, more independent way of living, showing that these skills aren't just for some hypothetical future, but for navigating the present with greater confidence, greater security.
Absolutely. And if you're listening and feeling ready to take that next step on your path to self-sufficiency, maybe to gain true food freedom and embrace these time-tested skills, then we highly recommend delving deeper into the source of today's conversation.
Yeah, definitely. Spirit Walker's book, Preparing for the Collapse, Food Production Basics, is just an indispensable guide. Whether you're looking to start your journey, or even if you're an experienced homesteader wanting a refresher on practical, proven methods, it covers all the basics you need to secure your family's future, and it does it with that kind of hands-on experience you simply can't find in theory alone. You can find a link to purchase it right in our show notes.
Perfect. So the question for you listening is, what small step will you take today? How will you reconnect with forgotten wisdom and cultivate your own path to preparedness? Will it be planting a pot of herbs on the windowsill, strilling a small compost pile, or maybe just observing the wild edibles in your local park, safely, of course? Thank you for joining us on Forgotten Wisdom Radio, a service of Nomadic Enterprises, guiding your journey and crafting your world. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and stay prepared.
And remember, there's always more to learn. Multiple perspectives only enrich understanding. Keep questioning, keep exploring.